to the game.
It's not just Bournemouth versus Arsenal this afternoon. This could very much be a battle between two very capable goalkeepers, as Aaron Ramsdale returns to face his former club and the man who replaced him in David Raya. This should be a good one, and it's live. Welcome to the Vitality Stadium here at the Seaside. We're seeing Bournemouth and Arsenal's clash today, and this could really be the story of two of the best keepers in the Premier League, David Raya for Arsenal and Aaron Ramsdale, who was sold to Bournemouth, probably mostly to get the funds for Alexander Isak. But Ramsdale, to be fair, unfortunately for him, had fallen out of favour once David Raya arrived here on loan from Brentford last season. And Mikel Arteta made the move permanent, and Ramsdale was rather unfortunately not phased out intentionally by Arteta, but David Raya, his form was almost impeccable at the time, and Ramsdale just couldn't get back in. So he's here to face his former club today. They've arrived here today, and he will be taking them on, as you can see there. So will we get even any goals today? That would really be the question. That would be the first time this season that we've had a 0-0 draw. We've had goals in every game we've covered so far this year. This might be one where that doesn't happen. I'll have to wait and see. So Ramsdale was, of course, in goal, and you saw him at the build-up part at the beginning, and that was Semino, who has scored 2 goals in his last game, so he will be the focal point looking for more today. For Arsenal, a few changes, but of course David Raya starts in goal once again. It's Tomiyasu that comes in. Wanyeri actually gets a start, and Nelson, Sterling and Gabriel Jesus are the front 3, as opposed to Trossard, Saka and Isak. They are most likely being rested for their upcoming Champions League tie against the BSC Young Boys. So that is on the forefront of Mikel Arteta's mind. Progression in the Champions League. This is probably more of a sacrificial game, really. One he'll probably take whatever happens. Because there are, I guess, with all respect to Bournemouth, much bigger fixtures for Arsenal to think about. In the fact that they are, of course, taking part in the Champions League. The centre-back pairing is Calvori and Gabriel today. Saliba drops out. I think he made the bench. But it always seems to be Calvori and either one of Gabriel or Saliba. And that's the same case for Yuri and Timber as well. He can also get paired with one of them every so often. Arteta's rotation certainly has been able to be... it's not that it wasn't bad, it's just more implemented now that he has completed all his signings so far. Whether that will mean anything for the January window, we'll have to wait and see. Raheem Sterling getting a start today. Mostly when he's appeared for Arsenal, he's been rather ineffective. Martin Odegaard forces an early save for Ramsdale, and another save for Ramsdale. Double save already. And it's going to be one of those, isn't it? 2 of the best goalkeepers in the league. This could really just be played to a stalemate, quite honestly. Here's Semino. Well, Bournemouth have certainly come on leaps and bounds since Eddie Howe was let go of a few seasons back, and I guess to credit Eddie Howe, he has landed on his feet at Newcastle, and my word, Newcastle really the standout performers this season. Even without Alexander Isak, they are challenging for the title. And Nelson forces a save early out of Ramsdale. He's going to be pretty incomparable to beat. And Ramsdale, to a degree, is returning home because Aaron Ramsdale, I believe, started out as a Bournemouth Academy youngster and has flown through the ranks. And then he joined Arsenal, I believe, from either them or Brighton. And obviously he was behind Vorchik Chesney for some time. Made his way into the team, and then unfortunately, when David Raya came in, unfortunately for him, it was all change really, and he kind of fell out of favour. And well, for Arsenal, it was a very vindicated decision, and it's £25 million around the sum that Bournemouth paid to get back his services, and some say that really helped in acquiring Isak and probably easing the pressure for them in the PSR rules, although Arsenal have never really been brought up in that regard. This is the most spending they've ever done in a few years, so I think they've got some room in that regard. Well, Semedo is the man to watch for Bournemouth today, but he's becoming up against one of the most formidable defences in the Premier League. It is a little bit weaker today, but Gabriel is still there to do his part. Tomiyasu gets a start as well. I think it's Shinchenko on the other side today. Onyeri getting a start. Wilson picks out Declan Rice. And Declan Rice has picked out Gabriel Jesus, who's got all the pitch to run at, more or less. He's picked out Martin Odegaard. And Ramsdale was going to save those all day long, and Odegaard was offside anyway. Let's see the VAR check. I don't know. He looks more on to me, but it wouldn't have counted anyway because Ramsdale saved it. And forward by Onyeri. I think we'll be seeing a lot of Ethan Onyeri in the future. Certainly someone that Arsenal are singing their praises about. And with Martin Lewis-Skelly as well. Two very promising up-and-comers in the Arsenal rank. Where is the Bournemouth fans are singing about Wembley for some reason. I'm trying to remember if when they came back up, did they go up for the playoffs? That could be what they're singing about. Whereas Arsenal won't be as heavily in the use about their youngster academy as some say my team, Manchester United, who've had an academy graduate for many years now. It's probably reaching about 4,000 games in a row that academy graduate has been a part of the starting 11 team or on the bench for Manchester United. Graduates almost every single match since, well, a very long time ago. I think it's probably from day one of their inception that has happened. And next you saw there in a flash, because the kind of things don't last very long. They last half a second now, but you did see it. Bournemouth will be taking on Aston Villa at Villa Park next for them. Arsenal will be taking on the BSC Young Boys, and then for the league it might be, I'm not sure who it is actually. They've still got to come up against, I think it might actually be Liverpool, but Arsenal still have to try and come up against Liverpool and later Manchester United. That's going to be a very odd feeling for me when that eventually comes around. First match commentating on not against my own team, but yeah, certainly going to be a strange feeling indeed when that happens. And Manchester United really are dropping a lot of points in the league table at the moment. They're losing grip to the front, losing ground to the front three which have been City, Newcastle and Arsenal respectively. In fact, it could be Arsenal ahead of Newcastle on goal difference, because Arsenal have been scoring goals for fun so far this season. In every single game, they have scored at least one. I think their highest win was Brighton with 5 and then Bolton with 4, I believe. And then they scored 5 against Leicester as well. It was just that Leicester scored a couple in response. Adams to Cook. Adams again. There's Cook, the Bournemouth captain. And now his foot. He's going to try and put it in towards Simizu, but Gabriel right there to snuff it out. And here come Arsenal now. Now it's Sterling. Jesus is ahead of him. Oh, couldn't pick him out, unfortunately. Semenyo to Evanson. Anthony. Not to be confused with the Anthony that plays for Manchester United. And has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons as far as his Manchester United career is concerned. So he whips it in, but it's a poor cross in the end. Sterling comes up with it, and he gets past Alruja, who commits a tackle, but he got the ball first. I think the momentum just really took Sterling into the man. It's a fair challenge. Alexander Zinchenko. Oh, it's Sterling. That's a poor touch, but he immediately went and got it back. Credit to him. Threaded it through to Martin Odegaard, and now Arsenal are away here. Jesus is there, as is Reece Nelson, who gets a start ahead of Bukayo Saka today. Nice. To Tomiyasu. Let's see Taki Tomiyasu making a comeback. He was injured at the beginning of the season. He's worked his way back in. He's done really well so far. Pickets. And here's Philip. And there's Gabriel. And another piece of stellar defending from him. Arsenal have to be at least challenging for this season's title. They have the striker now in Alexander Isak, and the defence is as formidable as ever. And David Raya now at number 1 in goal as well. I think Ramsdale wears the number 1 for Bournemouth, so that is the main tale today. Both number 1s in both goals. Ramsdale has made some good early saves. He's Jesus, he's to be tested again. Declan Rice, still yet to score this season. I think he has scored for Arsenal already. But that's a poor shot, to be fair. Well, Declan Rice, as we've said many times this season, was the first signing in the real turning point for Arsenal, really. In the last couple of seasons, he was the first to come through. And it has all been pretty much stellar buying from Arteta ever since. And of course, the other youngsters too. Now Alexander Isak, is he the final piece of the puzzle that will take Arsenal over the line? You certainly have to think of it at the moment. Kirkens and Semenyo, and I think that's out by Gabriel for a corner. Yep. Yeah, with Ramsdale in the opposing goal, it may not be as straightforward for Arsenal as it once looked. I think it was Semenyo with the attempt, but Raya more than capable of grabbing that one out of the air. Some great touch there. Kirkes back to Emerson, who has a lot of space, and he tried to loop it in. That's David Raya. You do have to do the spectacular to beat him. He's been beaten by a couple of really good strikes this season. One from Bentancur against Spurs and the other against Lewandowski and Gundogan at Barcelona. But both those games, Arsenal won because of their goal-scoring threat. It's not just from Isak, even though Isak and Saka are the most common of Arsenal's scorers so far this season. I think with about 5 apiece, I believe. I think Isak got his 6th. last time out, I think. There's Jesus. Oh, is that a penalty? Nah, it would have been very harsh if that had been called, I think. Well, it's flown by this first half, even though we've had no goals, but we're right at the end of the first half, and I think we expected this. If we are going to get a 0-0 this season, it would be this fixture. Because Bournemouth and Arsenal have, as we said many times, two of the best keepers in the Premier League currently. With Semenyo, and it's out for a corner, which won't be taken because that is the end of the first half. No goals, but it has gone by in an absolute blur. There's been no real meaningful chances. Ramsdale made a good double save earlier, and David Raya has just been just as capable, really. I think it was expected. It's 0-0 at the break. Welcome back to the Fatadi Stadium here at Bournemouth for this Premier League clash today, and we have no goals to speak of. And I wonder if Arteta, how reluctant he will be to use any of his star-studded bench. He's got Trossard and Isak there for striking purposes, but as we said, Arsenal have probably got one eye on the Champions League phase game between themselves and the BSC Young Boys, who aren't the strongest side in the Champions League, even though there is no easy games in the pinnacle of European competition. But BSC Young Boys are probably one of the weaker teams in this league phase, so Arsenal would be expected possibly to win there. And Arteta's squad today reflects it. He has left Martin Odegaard out there to captain the side, with Saka being rested. And here's Philip. He'll be pursued by Shinchenko, and Gabriel is there again. Another piece of great defending. It's so difficult to get past him and Saliba. They're such a formidable force in the Arsenal defence, and that wasn't too far away. I think that was an attempt that we had in the first half. That looked a lot less further away than it first did at first glance. There's Anthony. Tackled by Shinchenko. Even when the likes of Shinchenko and Tomiyasu have to step in for a game, they're just as formidable as the starters. Arsenal really do have a really good looking squad this season. Challenges is the minimum requirement. That's a foul on Kaiser. Will he go into the book? Yes, he will. So no sending off so far in this game. But Kaiser was probably very lucky there. As Arsenal's opponents continue to make it hard for themselves when they come up against Arsenal. Arteta's probably asking, where is the red? I think it would have been very harsh to give him that, to be fair. We have seen them given. And Rice's free kick. That's not as bad as it looks. It almost ended up with Jesus. Ramsdale would have had a real problem then if that had ended up at Jesus' feet. But of course he knows almost the entirety of his team inside out. Aaron Ramsdale spent many years there. He knows what to do. A great piece of defending from an Arsenal defender. That time it's Shinchenko. Semenyo throws it in, but Shinchenko gets the ball again. And he does come up with it, and he finds Sterling as well. And it's going to go out for an Arsenal throw, I think. Well, it's great to see Bournemouth back in the Premier League. They had a bit of a stint where they were out, of course. Eddie Howe was let go of. Pretty much as a result, they have made their way back, and now they are mainstays again. It's always happy to see them. And now, here is Reece Nelson. It's a good save from Ramsdale. It is going to be one of those days. Arteta's not really had a lot of them. There is Gabriel Martinelli, another man who's been amongst the goals this year. But Arteta very reluctant to use his best players in this one. So, in that respect, getting a point from this would actually be a very good achievement for Arsenal here. Because it's certainly not the best 11 that could be out there. Obviously is a must. And for good reason. Although Neto has been very good on his loan spell here. He's done very well, to be fair. Got clean sheets in every game he's appeared at so far. Although it might have only been 2, but All count. Ramsdale using a save out of there from Ranieri, and Arsenal are going to find it tough this afternoon to score, which we haven't really said a lot this season. Arsenal have been scoring for fun, but today, against their old teammate, Arsenal finding it a bit tougher than usual. Here's Semenyo, tackled by Sterling. So we're going to be approaching the transfer rumours. Nothing really to report at Arsenal, although they have got a couple of players on monitor. Benjamin Sesko seems to be forever linked with Arsenal these days, but I think it's Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon that could be a possible target. But I think Arteta has already spent 60 million to get Isak in. So the spending might be a little bit less on this window. And billing is going off for Justin Kluivert, the son of the legendary Patrick Kluivert, I believe. And it's Rice with this corner. And who was that? Was that Tomiyasu with the header? I think it was, you know. But Ramsdale more than capable to hold on to that one as well. He's found Justin Kluivert here. All the pitch to run at. He's going to have to go alone because no one's with him. Calvori slides to put him off, and he did brilliantly there. That was well played by Calvori. Sliding in to force Patrick Kluivert to probably take an extra step or two that he probably wouldn't have wanted to do. That was great defending from Arsenal again. Arsenal, you have to think, serious challenges for this title. They have the squad now. If they can pull off a signing in January, then it really is on, isn't it? It's Newcastle United who, as we said earlier, they really have emerged as the surprise so far this season. Staying stride for stride with not only Arsenal, but even City as well. Arsenal will be dropping points so far today, though. That will not help their cause. Scott comes on for Anthony in a Bournemouth substitution. And Semenyo. Adams. And Semenyo. And he whipped it across and he gave it away. Not sure what that was about. And Arsenal here have a chance to break with Nelson, and Ranieri is in front of him, and Jesus is in front of him. He tried to go over the top. That was unfortunate. Arsenal probably should have made more out of that one. Here is Kluivert. Semenyo. 2 goals in his last game. Rougeau trying to get round Shinchenko. And the side billboard there revealing the Batati sponsorship with the adorable sausage dog there. Reminds me of my dog. That me and the missus sort of inherited a few years back. Unfortunately, we don't have many more, but after a move that we had. But he has a friend there, so yeah. Dogs have become my thing in recent years. Anyway, we haven't really got any goals to speak of. I have to kind of think of something. Here's Justin Kluivert. Triple substitution being made by Arsenal then. Trossard is coming on for, I believe it's Raheem Sterling. It's one Arsenal youngster for another as Lewis Skelly comes on for Ranieri. And I believe Martinelli's actually come on for Sterling, and it's been Trossard for Nelson. That way around. Because there's only 15 minutes left to play, so hopefully it won't affect their availability for the Young Boys match. Here is Martinelli, who's been amongst the goals all season long. And now a Bournemouth player has gone down and is struggling to get back up. But Bournemouth play on because they have the ball. Oh, he's giving it away. That's really cheaply given away by Bournemouth. And now Martinelli is away. He's picked out Trossard. Odegaard's gone to cover him. Trossard! It's a good save by Ramsdale, to be fair. And that's the first really good save that Ramsdale's had to make in this half, because it's been very tightly contested, this game. It's a shame that we have no goals to report. Maybe we can get one from here. Declan Rice with this corner. 12 minutes to go. Adams is reported to have been the man that got slightly injured, but he's back on his feet now. We'll have to keep an eye on him the rest of the game, see if he can run it off. Semenyo to Cook. Rice intercepted. Chicheko. Good ball over the top. Trossard heads it forward to Odegaard. This is a real chance for Arsenal here. Lewis Skelly of all people. Unfortunately, it's straight at Ramsdale. You're going to have to get up very early in the morning to beat him from there. I think it was Martinelli to Zinchenko. Arsenal keep the ball. And now Semenyo is going to be making way for Unai. Lewis Skelly. Martinelli looks it in towards Odegaard. Curtis is there. Lewis Skelly comes up with it and tries to bring it down, but probably should have done better there. It was a heavy touch. He actually probably would have been better off trying to control that and maybe picking out, I think it was Martinelli there. It's something he'll learn with time. Well, Ramsdale, I would say, has probably been the busier of the two keepers. And he's done a stellar job today of keeping his former club out. But here's Gabriel Jesus. And Ramsdale reaches it and kicks it back out immediately to Scott. And it could send a Bournemouth on a break here. And now here's Evanson. He's got Justin Kluivert to his left. Uses him. And it's going to have to whip it in. Decides not to. He picks out Kirkes. Tackled by Rice. And Skelly finds Martinelli. Martinelli's forced backwards, but Calvert and Zinchenko was wonderfully placed there. And that was wonderful play by Arsenal. Zinchenko is away. He's run the full length of the pitch. And now he's picked out Jesus. He's got to score, but I think it was, I'm not sure who that was, but it was great defending nonetheless by Bournemouth. Jesus probably took a little bit too long with the ball, and it worked in Bournemouth's favour to get it clear. Now Kirkes again. This game's livened up a little bit now. Justin Kluivert. Gabriel there again for Arsenal. Jesus. It was Sensi that made that fantastic tackle on Jesus to stop the chance. Well, it nicked off Jesus momentarily there, but he couldn't come up with it, sadly. Well, the game has gone by in a bit of a blur, to be honest, even though it has a 0-0 scoreline. That's the most disappointing factor about this game. We've got 5 minutes about it on time, but there's been no real meaningful chances to really speak of so far anyway. Justin Kluivert puts on the spin, and it amounted to almost nothing. And Rice, and offside given against Bournemouth there. Was it Kluivert? It was, I think that's Kirkes who's offside. And we see the ball in an offside position. Here's Tomiyasu. Rice. Kirkes with the tackle, but Arsenal keep it. And Arsenal really just want to wind down the clock. It'll be another clean sheet for David Raya, and that'll be a good personal step for him. Here is Jesus. And Ramsdale produces one more good save. In comes Odegaard, another save by Ramsdale. He's been the busier of the two keepers, but he's done really well. And a 0-0 draw today is probably a fair result, considering the calibre of both keepers between the sticks. Everton and forces to save out of Rara as well. It's been really tick for tat between those two, and neither of them could be beaten. 0-0 is a very fair scoreline. Ramsdale doing his job for his new team, or his old team, if you want to look at it. But he's definitely the busier of the goalkeepers. But there was no real meaningful chances to speak of, and a 0-0 draw is a fair result. But Arsenal may look at this slightly as 2 points dropped, because to me, I think they were slightly the better team. But the score was expected. It's 0-0 here today. So let's take a look at all the scores this weekend and what that means for the Premier League table then. Tottenham have won again against West Ham in a bit of a London derby. The big match, Liverpool and Chelsea, ended in a 0-0 draw, disappointingly. Man City were made to work hard for it against Wolves, but they did pull out the win against them by 3-2. Aston Villa beat Fulham by 3-0. Newcastle keep up the pressure at the top of the table as their magnificent season continues, winning 3-1 against Brighton. Manchester United dropped points yet again. They cannot seem to get a 3-pointer on the board. And Southampton lost to Leicester by 2-1. 2-2 it was between United and Brentford. Ipswich lose again, this time to Everton by 3-1. And Crystal Palace beat Forest by 2-0. So looking at the table then, it's Manchester City still at the top, a point ahead of Newcastle. And that draw against Bournemouth might harm Arsenal today, at least for today, as they drop to third. United just continue to be inconsistent, or consistently draw at least, down in fourth. Fifth Liverpool, sixth Chelsea, as Chelsea and Spurs are now rising through the table with Villa in seventh. It's Bournemouth ninth, followed by Leicester City completing the top 10. Brighton 11th, followed by Brentford. Everton climb out of the relegation zone. They looked in the relegation doldrums at one point, but now they're 13th, followed by Forest, Palace and Fulham. And the last of the safe zone is West Ham on 6 points in 17th. It's still the same three as I believe as last week, so it's Southampton and Ipswich equal on 5 points. And Wolves' miserable season continues to only get worse. Still 1 point from the first 8 games now.